Hi friends, this is Yana. Welcome to my next vlog. After my daughter's passing in 2016, I moved into a one-bedroom condo my stepfather slash abuser bought for me. His words to me were, "I will buy it if you'll be happy there." I had no idea what he really meant. It was to become my prison, torture chamber, and entertainment den for his perverted pleasure and happiness. Over the years, he successfully triangulated me with my family, slowly isolating me from friends and family. I called him the only family member who cares about me. I could not guess what was underneath his appearance. He used scopolamine, a powerful mind-controlling, undetectable drug, to keep me in a submissive and agreeable state. Essentially, I became his golem, a mindless zombie, doing his bidding. It was easy for him to manipulate me in such a vulnerable state. Having lost a child, a marriage, and all contact with family, I became his prime target for abuse. I know that in order to survive, I had to find knowledge. I started with one book, The Narcissistic Family. It was extremely eye-opening, but at the time, I knew nothing about covert narcissism and psychopathy. It was another 7 years before I started to uncover this life-changing information. The obvious abuse I suffered at the hands of my immediate family was my first priority to uncover and understand. Since then, I read many books on narcissistic family dynamics and individual pathological behavior of narcissists and other toxic personality types. While my mother became unreachable for 1.5 years after my daughter's passing, using every lame excuse under the sun, including not knowing my phone number, I immersed myself in study. When she reappeared again in late 2017, on my late daughter's birthday, what would have been her second birthday, her words rang out like a true borderline personality disorder mother's, psychotic and delusional. Quote, "Your daughter hated you. That's why she died." That's a projection. Quote, "You should commit suicide. People like you don't survive." Quote, "The death of a child." Unquote. I took it upon myself to move across the country to another state to cut cords with my toxic mother and remove myself from my stepfather, the abuser, albeit unconsciously at that time. In 2018, that's when I first heard about scopolamine and its dangerous effects on the mind. Because at the time I could not fathom that a close family member could intentionally poison me for decades to gain full control over my life. It would be another 5 years before I made the horrific discovery that became the catapult I needed to launch myself out of the most dangerous and toxic environment that I didn't even know I was living in for the last several years. Besides posing as me and complaining to the condo HOA board on my neighbors, my stepfather, the abuser, engaged in other despicable things. He stalked me online, leaving creepy comments, pushing away friends. He posed as different fake accounts on various dating apps, flooding my profile with fake account messages, as well as phishing personal information, pretending to be someone interested in dating me. That completely turned me off dating websites permanently. He tapped my phone number and he read my messages through spying apps he installed on my phone. He paid off a crooked mechanic to steal my dash cam footage in my car while dropping my ex-husband's name to create a feud. It was 7 years after the divorce, and I didn't buy it. I simply left because it was the last straw. I was done being a golem, a mindless creature, zombie, to others' wishes and commands. The level of scopolamine-induced infiltration and mind control was astounding. I remember visiting him in 2015 and telling my stepfather that my husband was being abusive to me. He just sat there and said nothing. He then turned to me and pointed to a monarch butterfly. It was him using implied consent to tell me indirectly that he was using Project Monarch, deadliest jewel, scopolamine, to enslave my mind and inflict abuse through a proxy, my ex-husband, and that soon I will return to him as my handler, as a monarch butterfly does to its nesting grounds. When the perfect mask of my abuser started to crack, he tripled and quadrupled the effort to win me back as his primary object of abuse. When it all failed, he decided to get me the ultimate death trap, a big bouquet of flowers for my 40th birthday. It was 6 months after I made the horrific discovery and was struggling to accept the truth. Having more than 2 decades of brainwashing, I accepted the bouquet, and on the midnight of my birthday, my life was set to end tragically. Thankfully, my guardian angels were with me, and I wore a helmet, and that saved my life. You can watch the Tura Trip Report episode for more information on that. Having survived this nightmare of abuse, this year I celebrated my birthday with content and bliss in my heart, knowing I did everything I could to get myself out of the hole of grief, betrayal, and loneliness, to come out on the other side as someone who knows themselves enough to be okay with everything as it is, forever in flux.